Remember those old Guess jeans ads? Sultry stares, denim for days, and the kind of rebellious cool that screamed 90s attitude? At one point, Guess was the brand. Everyone from Claudia Schiffer to Anna Nicole Smith strutted their stuff in those iconic black and white campaigns. But fast forward to the 2000s, and Guess slowly disappeared into the background, becoming more of a mall staple than a fashion icon. Now, in a world obsessed with Y2K and 90s throwbacks, Guess sees a golden opportunity. They've dropped a whopping $633 million investment to revamp, rebrand, and re-enter the style chat. But the big question is, does that old-school charm still have enough juice to fuel a new era? The video is going to be very interesting, so make sure you stick till the end. Now let's get started. The golden era. Guess was the moment. In the late 80s and 90s, Guess wasn't just a clothing brand. It was a cultural force. Their denim wasn't just worn, it was desired. The campaigns were sultry, cinematic, and unforgettable. Guess jeans meant status, sex appeal, and a splash of rebellion. The Marciano brothers had nailed the formula. European glam meets American grit. Everyone from supermodels to musicians wanted a piece of the Guess lifestyle. It wasn't just what you wore, it was who you wanted to be. That Guess girl image became iconic, seared into the fashion memory of an entire generation. But as trends shifted and newer brands emerged, Guess struggled to evolve, eventually becoming just another logo on a crowded mall shelf. Still, the emotional imprint Guess left behind continues to resonate with those who lived through that era. And that emotional connection is a powerful marketing tool today. A strategic bet, $633 million in a plan. You don't just throw over $500 million into a brand unless you're cooking up something big, and Guess definitely is. That massive $633 million investment isn't just for fancy campaigns, it's a full-blown revival strategy. Think upgraded stores, reimagined collections, influencer collaborations, and digital storytelling that leans hard into their sexy 90s vibe. The goal? To recapture their signature aesthetic while making it feel fresh. This isn't a lazy, let's just remake old jeans situation. Guess is treating this like a rebirth, one that connects deeply with Gen Z's obsession with authenticity and vintage appeal. Their plan also includes tech-enhanced retail experiences and limited drops that create a sense of exclusivity, something today's fashion-savvy customers crave. Nostalgia is in, but it's competitive. Here's the thing. Nostalgia is everywhere. From reboots of 90s TV shows to vintage sneaker drops, we're living in a full-blown retro renaissance. So Guess isn't the only brand banking on this throwback wave. Tommy Hilfiger, Levi's, and even Juicy Couture are all pushing their 90s archives to the forefront. That means Guess has to stand out, not just by evoking old memories, but by creating new ones. Nostalgia works best when it feels personal, when it taps into something emotionally powerful. Guess is trying to stir those emotions. The first time you wore their jeans, the posters on your bedroom wall, that edgy, glamorous feeling. In a saturated nostalgia market, Guess must ensure that their brand voice remains distinct, not just a faded echo of the past, but a bold remix of it. Influencers and celebs, the new Guess girls. Back in the day, Guess girls were legendary. Now, the brand is tapping into modern-day icons to relaunch that energy, but with a twist. You're seeing them partner with social media stars, models, and musicians who bring their own bold energy. Think TikTok fashionistas rocking vintage Guess logos, or singers sporting denim on stage in a way that screams retro glam. It's not just about celebrity endorsement anymore. It's about cultural alignment. Guess wants to be where the trends are being set, not where they've already peaked. These collaborations are about creating moments, viral images, bold fashion statements, and that sense of edgy fun the brand was known for. By choosing influencers who authentically reflect Guess's aesthetic, the brand increases its chances of becoming culturally relevant rather than just temporarily trendy. Guess Originals, vintage-inspired, future-ready. One of the smartest moves in Guess's comeback strategy? Guess Originals. This line goes full throttle into the vintage vibe, reissuing classic logos, 90s denim fits, crop tops, and varsity jackets. But here's the kicker. It doesn't feel like cheap nostalgia. These collections are thoughtfully designed, blending old-school details with modern tailoring and sustainable fabrics. It's a nod to their roots without feeling stuck in the past. Gen Z and millennials alike are eating it up because it feels authentic, not forced. Guess Originals is the clearest sign that the brand gets it. Nostalgia alone isn't enough. You need substance. You need pieces that actually feel wearable, cool, and relevant today, not just like a museum exhibit of 90s fashion. With plans to introduce more unisex styles and eco-conscious materials, Guess Originals is positioning itself as both stylish and socially aware, a smart double win. Global expansion, not just a US thing. Guess isn't just looking to make noise in American malls again. They've got their eyes on a much bigger stage. With part of that $633 million backing going toward international markets, the brand is pushing hard into Europe, Asia, and beyond. Why? Because vintage American style has serious pull overseas. Think of how Levi's and Ralph Lauren play in Japan or South Korea. Guess wants in on that action. Plus, emerging markets are hungry for nostalgic Western brands, especially ones with bold identities and throwback appeal. By expanding globally, Guess is diversifying its audience while reintroducing the brand in a way that feels new to some and nostalgic to others. Localized campaigns, regional influencer tie-ins, and exclusive overseas collections are part of their strategy to make Guess feel both global and personal. Challenges ahead: mall culture, fast fashion, and brand identity. Let's not sugarcoat it, Guess still has some major hurdles. For one, mall culture isn't what it used to be. Many young shoppers rarely set foot in physical retail stores anymore, and brands that were once mall mainstays are struggling to stay relevant. Then there's fast fashion. With ultra-trendy, ultra-cheap clothing just a click away, Guess can't compete on price. They have to compete on brand. And that's tricky because the Guess identity is still somewhat in flux. Are they high fashion, streetwear, sexy Americana? Until they fully define that, they risk getting lost in the shuffle. Nostalgia is great, but if it's not paired with a clear and modern voice, it can easily slip into trying too hard territory. The next step for Guess is refining their messaging so that every collection, campaign, and collaboration speaks the same brand language: bold, timeless, and confident. The verdict: can nostalgia spark a real comeback? So, is all this buzz enough to make Guess cool again? Honestly, the brand is on the right track. There's a lot working in their favor: the 90s fashion boom, Gen Z's love for vintage, a solid investment backing, and collections that actually look good. But nostalgia is just the hook. The rest depends on how well they execute. If they can keep up the momentum, stay true to their edgy roots, and avoid watering down the brand, there's real potential here. The fashion world loves a comeback story, and Guess has all the ingredients. But they'll need to keep innovating, keep listening, and keep evolving if they want to stay relevant. If Guess plays it right, they won't just be remembered. They'll be reimagined as a brand that successfully bridged the gap between legacy and next-gen cool. Hope you guys enjoyed our video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for more videos. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.